The Extraordinary Achievers Show, hosted by Chief Lady Waynette Peters, a multi-entrepreneur, empowerment speaker, confidence mentor, positive lifestyle coach, and a humanitarian ambassador whose sound of victory testimony has inspired thousands around the world. Founded in 2014, the Extraordinary Achievers Talk Show presents positive stories to inspire, motivate, and encourage others.
This is the Extraordinary Achievers Show. We welcome you. I am Lady Waynette Peters, the founder and CEO of the Extraordinary Achievers. We have guests today from Toronto, from Spain, and the UK, and we're looking at relationships and love. My mom used to say, there's no free lunch. Find out what it is that's in it for you. Then think, does this suit me? What about my expectations? Is the friendship or association of mutual benefit? She went on to advise me that this diplomacy should always be exercised in any association. In other words, set the ground rules. In situations where you find a spotted leopard or a striped tiger, remember that it's its nature. You can never change its colors or stripes. Don't ignore the voices that are inside you. They are the truth of what you wish to ignore. Welcome to the Extraordinary Achievers. Let me introduce you to our guests that are joining us on the Extraordinary Achievers today. From Toronto, we have Leasha Small, a life and relationship coach specializing in goal-setting success. Leasha is an international author, and today she joins us as a life and relationship coach. Her mission is to help women let go of relationship distress and transform pain into power so they can live their best life. Leasha, welcome to the Extraordinary Achievers.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. We're glad to have you on the show today. Next, we're going to introduce you to Jay Ricky, and let's look at this. Also joining us is Jay Ricky from Sharp Looking Coaching, a holistic business and personal development coach who offers holistic mentoring and coaching, focusing on personal health, developing a balanced life and outlook in one's journey in life. Jay, welcome on the Extraordinary Achievers.
Peace and power.
We welcome you. Jay, you offer programs for developing oneself with self-discovery and analytical self-awareness. You've had the pleasure of working in nursing, social work, counseling, and as a therapist. And today we are really excited of having you on the show to discuss Friends with Benefits. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, bless you.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah. Yogi is an energy life coach for the experimental healing and transformation courses and is a practitioner of the experimental healing method, which offers a bespoke guided meditation to help release current past life ancestry traumas or emotional blocks which are held within the body and the mind. Her frequency of holding people in love and guiding them into their true freedom, which means you shift people into getting exactly what they want in life. You also represent Pan-Nation Steel Orchestra as a double seconds player and their social media queen. That within all of this, your mission is purely to spread good vibrations all around the world. We welcome you today.
Blessings. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If you've just joined us, welcome to the Extraordinary Achievers. Today, we are going to be talking about friends with benefits. We would love to hear your opinions. We would love to hear from you. Comment below, and we're going to ask you to please like, share, and please do comment. The coaches are here for you today, so please do ask them any questions you would like to. Do not be disturbed by the numbers that you see on the screen. We are using an outside media streaming, so we will not be able to see all the people that are live, but when we come off air, we'll be able to see the total number of people that joined us today. So, however, still spread the word. Share, like, and comment. We welcome you. Kelsey, good evening. Simon Brown, good evening. Literally Bloom, hi, my dear. And Joanne, the Empress herself, hello. Sophia Lambru, good evening. Babidor. Beata, Coach Beata, hello. Matt Taylor, good evening, Matt. Francis Albert, hi, all the way from Jersey. Louisa Artie, good evening. And she's also saying good evening to Simon. And we have Bangy, hi to you too, and welcome. Valerie Robinson, a coach herself, who will be on the show later on this month. Good evening to you, and thank you for joining us. Keep your comments flying in. And once the speakers and the guests are there today, use them. We can have their services. And each of the guests that we have today has amazing packages that they offer, and they'll tell us about their packages after. Now we are going to go over to Leisha.
Hi.
We're going to ask you the first question.
Okay.
Can having friends with benefits leave you feeling insecure and lacking in confidence?
Yes, it sure can. And I think that's why it's so important to know what you're getting yourself into, right? Friends with benefits, it's one of those things where there's some underlining rules. So you have to make sure that you're really ready for what you're stepping into. And I often call it the danger zone, because there's so many different variations of what friends with benefits is. So it can leave you feeling a little bit insecure and lack confidence, because feel like you're almost like you're competing with what you really want and what you think you want sometimes. And I think that's why people even enter into friends with benefits. You know, they're lacking in what they really want in a real relationship. So they think that, you know, maybe I'll just have this. It's light. It's something that I can dabble into, but not all the time is it what we really want, right? So I think sometimes it can leave you feeling a little insecure there.
Thank you. And what a great introduction to this evening. And what would you say, what happens when you fall in love with your friends with benefit?
Oh my goodness. Is that a part of the rules is what I would ask, right? I mean, for me, I have personally been in a friends with benefits situation back in the day. And, you know, it's always one or the other person falls in love at some point in time. And I always notice my experience and in other experiences that I've seen, it's been that there's a breakdown. And friends with benefits, it doesn't last anymore. So it is dangerous to dabble into that zone of falling in love, because then it's not really just friends with benefits. It gets sticky. You're in a sticky, dangerous zone, I call it.
And are you still friends with your FWB?
No, not anymore. I'm engaged now. I'm getting married.
Fantastic. No, she's not. She doesn't even know at the number. She blocked him.
We're not friends anymore.
And what type or kind of a person finds themselves being satisfied with just having a friends with benefit?
I think someone who's very sure of what they want. I think in order to even dabble in that area, you have to be sure with what you want. You have to be super confident that you don't want a relationship. You just want a situation. You just want something light and easy, and maybe you have things going on for yourself. So I really think the type of person is someone that knows what they want, and they're not afraid of just having something that is just friends with benefits, just that light type of situation. Yeah.
So you mentioned situation. I remember finding out about being in a situation.
Situationship. Yeah.
So being in a situation is the same as having a friend with benefits?
I think so. I
Mhm.
think so. Because it's like there's relationship
Uh-huh.
and then there's a situation. And I think you're in a situation at that point because it's not, you can do what you want at that point. Friends with benefits, they're like, what are the rules, right? You
Mhm.
make your own rules. So I think you're in some type of situation with that person. You make your own rules together. And hopefully you both are on the same accord, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. So it means that you're in that situation where the situation could change at any minute given time. You could be together, could not be together.
Yes.
Anything could happen. But
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. We're
No
going to come back
problem.
to you. We're just
Okay.
going to thank you for that. We're going to go to Jay, and Jay, we're going to ask you your first question.
Go ahead.
Jay, can can having a friends with benefits give you a false sense of security? Like, yes, I got this friend with benefits, and that means I'm okay. I'm in some sort of relationship. Can it give you a false sense of security?
Yes. A lot of us would think that having friends with benefits is what we maybe see in Hollywood. It doesn't really. We can overcome. We can get involved, and then we've seen through, for instance, the Will Smith situation, where an entanglement supposedly happens. Um, you know, Although they were able to, because maybe of the show, the Red Table, I think it's called, they were able to communicate and out what their feelings and emotions were about the whole situation and scenario. Not every day-to-day person actually can do that. We tend to get involved in certain types of um, so-called relationships that we assume we can control, and we assume that we can participate in, not recognizing that actually, when we're actually involved in that, the consequences of our actions, everything that we do has some form of consequence. So usually when you're involved with somebody else, what usually happens is that you're not thinking about anyone else. The focus is just predominantly you, your needs, your wants, and that's it really. Some people, they excuse certain behavior, so they think that because I'm single, it's okay to have a WB.
Mhm.
Um, okay, I can understand that, because at the end of the day, you feel that there's no one else is going to get hurt. There's no one else that is going to, get the shrapnel of what might be the outcome of a negative experience. But at the end of the day, I think what it is like, one thing that I have learned is, friends with benefits. You're dealing with a human being. You're dealing with, in other words, you're dealing with a person that is, or an individual rather, that has emotions and feelings. And as you have mentioned already with your guest, if the other party starts to have intense emotions and feelings,
Mhm.
or a connection of some sort, then it becomes even more of a controlling factor. Even though it never started out like that, it could become a controlling factor. And no
But Jay,
human being likes to be controlled.
if two people are single,
Hmm.
how do we end up now saying that we're friends with benefits? If I was single and someone was single, surely we are courting and then we're dating, right? And how do we differentiate that this is, no, we're not courting or dating? You might be single, I might be single, but we're just friends with benefits. And How does that take place?
Like your other guest said, there is a difference between a relationship and just effed up friends with benefits. The thing is, it's like, you know what, we all want to think that we can control everything, as if it's some form of scientific experiment. The reality of it is, situations and circumstances might change, for an individual. So, for instance, when you've both met each other, that is how you were both thinking, and then all of a sudden different circumstances and situations comes, like, for instance, the other individual might lose their job, and that might cause stress and strains and insecurities, which might end up being projected onto you. And then all of a sudden your so-called wonderful, perfect so-called friends with benefit turns out to be a little bit more than that. Next minute you're having to be a listening ear or a crying shoulder, which you didn't expect, and you weren't prepared for, or you had rules and regulations in the beginning, and then all of a sudden those rules are being bent, and before you know it, it's really, really hard just to have friends with benefits. So there's a difference between a relationship, in respects to, is there a future? Are you going to build together? Are you going to actually not be ashamed of being in the streets with each other? Are you going to show affection to one another? Or is it just going to be, as people call it today, a link up? And a so-called pleasurable link up that satisfies maybe your lust, but not necessarily anything else.
Thank you, Jay. We're coming back to you shortly.
No
we
problem.
are going to go to our next speaker, but before we do that, we're just going to read some comments that have come through. We've got some comments. Thank you for your comments. I'm now going to look at my comments screen. Christopher Jones says, hello, Christopher, and welcome. Samuel Dinsey, good evening, and thank you for joining us. Miss Joanne Empress, she says, you get the worst out that you got into the relationship. There is no point. She's saying there is no point in having friends with relationships because you might end up getting the worst out of that relationship. Let's see if we have any more comments. We're going to urge you to post your comments. Aramun Composer says, brilliant, and thank you for joining us this evening. And once again, thank you for your support for this show. TJ Adioba says, hiya. Hi to Uncle TJ. We miss you, Uncle TJ. And thank you very much. We would like to encourage you to share, like, comment, and please do ask our guests any question. They're here for you. Just before we go on to our next speaker, we're going to play this video. Yugi, welcome back again to the Extraordinary Achievers Show. It's so exciting. Do you not always say that I love your energy, so bubbly? So, if you go to Yugi's Facebook page and you see her daily posts, she's absolutely everywhere and she's having so much fun, a bubble of energy. So thank you, and pour it all here today. We want some of that. Yugi, after being friends with benefits, can you ever go back to just being friends?
Yes, I believe it is possible. But again, it's been interesting what everyone's been bringing up, because the relationship can change. So whether you're being honest in that relationship in the first place, putting all your cards on the table, if it changes and one person develops more feelings than the others, then that is a danger zone, because they're becoming more attached. But if in the first place, and I might be a bit contradictory here, but if you are completely clear on your intention and whatever it is you want, and as we love to say, there is no wrong or right. And if you're honest and you explore that honesty with your companion, your best friend, whoever it is, if you're both on the same page, you're both going to be giving yourself whatever it is in that relationship that you both need and want. And for me, you know, whether you settle in that relationship or you both drift or you both grow into something else, there are different dimensions that that relationship can go into. So it could be a factor that you don't speak to this person again, or you could still be best friends afterwards. You still have that love, that connection, and you both still want the best for each other. So no matter who they're with, it doesn't matter.
Thank you. Yogi, does having a friend with benefits make you a benefit to someone that just does not want to commit to you? So you are a benefit to them, but they will never commit to you, but you're what they need.
That is the imbalance. So if there's something in you that needs something and you're not seeking it, or you're not actually asking for it or getting it, then where is it in you that you're denying that truth? You're not being honest, A, with yourself, or B, with your partner. And there'll always be a reflection to you. You know, if you don't feel worthy of actually being in a relationship with this person and you think that's the best it's going to get, so you're just putting up with it and you're not really getting what you want, the same thing that we all keep saying, then you're denying yourself what you really want, your truth, your passion, and that program that we carry of not being good enough or not being worthy enough of the love we want. That is, for me, the kind of self-abuse that you're not really giving yourself that love that you really deserve.
We've got a question about that's coming up about what happens. What do you do when friends with benefits turn into an emotional benefit? Relationships are dynamic.
So again, you know, each relationship is going to be different. And when you both come to a relationship, what is it you're both coming for? Is it that connection? Is it just a physical connection, the attention, whatever it is, that companionship? Now, when you've set that levels of where you both are matching each other equally, again, be completely honest with each other. Now, if an attachment grows and it becomes heavier, or they're looking for more, or you're looking for more, then that balance needs to be readdressed. You need to be honest with your companion and, you know, explore the expectations that you're holding on to or projecting onto them, because that is the emotional attachment that you need to let go of. If you can't, then that might sabotage the relationship that you're in. So it's about finding out for you what it is your expectations are, and are they being met in that relationship?
Thank you. And so when R that asked the question said, what happens when it turns into an emotional one? Would we say that if it's turning into an emotional relationship, it's now growing from being friends with benefits, it's actually now slowly turning into a relationship? Because if you are now emotionally dependent on each other, you've moved on to another level. It's just not satisfying each other's bodies. It's now gone to satisfying the mind, which is a different level altogether. Would you say that to be correct?
Yes, it's a very fine line. You know, what we have in a friends with benefits situation, you're still getting all that love, that support, that connection. It's not just a physical contact. You're connected to your friend for a reason. But when it goes beyond that kind of deeper level, you know, what's the difference between being a boyfriend and a girlfriend or being somebody with the benefits? Because what are we looking for? Something that has no dramas, or something that is more free and liberating. Whereas in the construction of like a relationship, we get bogged down by these labels. So we get stuck in the kind of the normality of what a relationship's meant to be. And again, no wrong or right, but when you are in a friends with benefits relationship, I feel like there's a more energetic freedom. Yeah, there's a danger with that, Again, if you're in that free will state of going, I'm clear of my intention, and this is what I'm coming with, and this is what I'm bringing, and this is what they're bringing, and that is a match, that is going to be the kind of more liberating experience of being in love. And it doesn't matter whether you're a husband or a partner or a friend, but you're still going to have that connection.
Thank you, Yugi. And I'm learning a lot. Yugi, we're going to come back to you in a moment. We are going to be going to Leisha in a moment. Before we do that, I'm going to read some comments that have been coming up. And thank you to everyone. Thank you for your encouragement. Thank you for the lovely words you're putting through. Super, super appreciate you. And tonight we'll appreciate you even more if you were to share, to comment, and to interact with our guests. Norma Ellis, who is a podcaster and a coach, says, I have always remained friends with my past relationships. So I take it that Norma Ellis does know how to build a foundation with her past relationship. Christopher Jones says, I think the best way is to be as loving and kind to each other, no matter what. Sometimes it's easier said than done. I believe that it is the best way forward in any relationship. We can't use that next word on Facebook, but intimacy or non-intimacy. All of your speakers have mentioned honesty is also paramount. Just my thoughts. Christopher, we appreciate your thoughts. Empress Joanna says, the idea of having a friend with benefits sounds amazing. More often than not, someone ends up representing the other person for the way things are playing out, leading to the destruction of not only your physical relationship, but your friendship as well. I think what Joanne is saying is stay away from it. Colin Mitchell, Mr. CM himself, says, say it like it is. Friends with benefits relates to intimacy, but with no commitment, unless both parties agree to the rules of engagement, when it's heading for a disaster. The relationship, friendship, or whatever you wish to call it is destined to fail. So good point there. Like you said, you are friends with benefits is all about the intimacy, and we're hearing that ground rules are important. We have a question which we are going to be posing over to Leisha. Leisha's question coming up on the screen. Monty says, what is the definition of friends with benefits? We're putting you on the spot with this one.
I think that's okay. That's okay. I think that friends with benefits is an intimate connection with someone without the full commitment of the relationship. So just an intimate connection.
Thank you for that. And what advice would you give on someone just thinking about going into a friends with benefits situation?
Know what it is that you want. I think it's the best thing that I can say. Know what you want and make sure, like Yuzi said, make sure you're very honest. Because a lot of times we kind of put our wants and needs at bay. So if we realize that it's going down a road that, you know, we really want love, but this is like an easy route right now because I want intimacy, I want a companion. If that's not truly what you want, then that's where you can get into disaster. So it's important that you know what you want before you dabble into it, because it's all fair game once you're in there. Like things can happen, right? You can't control what the feelings and the emotions can happen from the other partner or for yourself, because when you get involved, it really does get sticky sometimes. So you have to be prepared for that.
The next question from Bang, we have the next question from Bangi, and the question is, how do you navigate when you start getting feelings? Doesn't it get messy? So someone is not, it's that human interaction of you being with someone, isn't it? It is in sharing that kiss, that intimacy, that togetherness. And I always say, unless you're a robot, then you want those feelings do not materialize. I think you'd have to have gone through something super traumatic in life for you not to catch feelings, right?
Right.
And
It's so true.
Bangi says, how do you avoid it getting messy?
Well, I mean, at that point, the only way to not let it get messy is if you know that you just want that intimate connection and that's it. Some people really just know that they've been hurt in the past and they just want an intimate connection. And before it even gets sticky, they're out, right? They get out before it gets there, right? And like I said before, it's a messy ground. So you never know. Maybe it's not you that's going to get to that point of emotions and really like into it in that way, wanting more. It could be the other person. So you kind of have to read the situation before, like when you're in it, you have to read the situation and how it's going.
Thank you. Thank you for that. We are coming back to you again. We are doing the musical chairs today. So now we are going to go to Jay. Jay Ricky, welcome back onto our screens. Jay, we are going to take on some comments that are coming in and any questions that we have. And so you've got your on-spot questions as well. Norma Ellis says, some friends with benefits, it's about economics. It's about the economics of it. Podcaster Norma, I'll be interested for you just to elaborate just a little bit on that last statement. And in the meantime, we're going to see, you say some friends with benefits is about economics. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you mean, podcaster Norma? And thank you. Norma is a podcaster and amazing coach, and she's been on this show before, and we look forward to having her back again. Melissa says, how do you talk about friends with benefits with people? I guess... is this people? Are you talking about, I'm assuming that, Melissa, you're talking about how do you discuss the fact that you have got a friend with benefits with other people and tell people, hey, I got a hoochie coochie.
Can I answer that quickly?
Yes, please.
Yeah. I find that it's, I'm going to write a book called The War of the Genders. I find it's very interesting how women, when they're together, they tend to reveal and expose certain types of things amongst each other, because I feel that women, not sounding like a stereotypical male, but I feel like women feel more safer possibly talking about certain types of friends with benefits, a subject matter like friends with benefits. The same with males. Males find it very hard to talk with a female unless it's a real close female friend, or a relative. They find it much more harder to talk to a female about, or females, to expose that they have a friend with benefit, because some of them are just basically, they want their what did they say? They want their cake and more than just a little bit of the cake. So the thing is, it's like they're trying to, they're conflicted. A lot of men are conflicted because they think that, okay, well, if I was to mention this, then obviously I'm going to not be, no one that is going to want to date or be in a relationship is going to actually choose me. So I find that when men are together, when women are together, they tend to be more relaxed in being able to share these type of conversations.
Thank you for that input, and we're looking forward to your book. And if I'm ordering my signed copy now.
Believe me.
You need to come back as soon as a book is written. And so, Jay, tell us, are there any questions that one should ask oneself and ask the other person before embarking into a friends with benefits union or situation? Are there set questions that we should be really asking, A, ourselves, and B, the next person? Are there any questions that we should be looking at?
I think, to be honest with you, like I mentioned before, very few of us, we all think that we can control lots of different scenarios and situations within our life journey. The reality of it is like most of us don't think any further than probably next week or next month, maybe. Is this how you want to live for the rest of your life? Is this what you want to do to, the complexities and complications of walking into someone else's life journey, and you might know what you want. Okay, that's fine, but the other individual, even if they seem to be assertive and seem to know what they want, anything can happen in these type of scenarios. Any situation, like maybe the other individual, when you first met them, their parents were alive. Right now with this pandemic, for instance, a lot of the individuals I've noticed that were living a friends with benefit type of lifestyle, all of a sudden they got knocked sideways because all of a sudden they lost a parent or they lost a loved one, and then suddenly there's no, I find when you have these friends with benefits, it seems to predominantly always seem to work when the individual is at let's say a high level of mental strength state. However, when they start to decline themselves as well as the other individual, all of a sudden the friends with benefits doesn't become a friends with benefits no more. So you need to ask yourself, is this basically how I want to live? Is this what I want? Now there are some people that they're career minded only, and they're not interested in relationships, and they're not interested in marriage or anything like that, because everything is just focused to their career. That's understandable, but you still have to take, I think, a little bit of a little moment to recognize that you just can't plow into someone else's life journey. Something might happen to them, and just your interaction of in the beginning, you thinking it was going to be friends with benefits, might actually impact them even worse than whatever scenario happens to them while you're having this friends with benefits scenario. So I think it's just to take in consideration other human beings around you and how they live and what they are and who they are. People act very strong nowadays, but in this pandemic, again, you're seeing the so-called strong people that you thought were strong all of a sudden, going through a lot of different types of, especially mental stress. So it's, you have to be careful.
I guess that's where that other new word these days, that you're in an entanglement, comes from.
That's why I mentioned it.
And now you end up being in an entanglement. If you've just joined us, welcome to the Extraordinary Achievers. We have Coach Jay Ricky from Sharp Looking Coaching Services. And now we're going to look at a comment from Simon C. Brown. Simon C. Brown, hi. I was on a group today, just to completely go off track, but we're keeping the comment up on the screen. I was on a group chat today, which Simon is a media director of, and we were there. And just to cause a bit of friction on the group, I said that Simon and I were in a family with benefits relation. So I had all these other text messages saying, are you in an entanglement with Sam? I said, no, our families have benefits because we are family benefits. So there are lots of other different benefits that you can have in life. It's just not a body satisfaction and life satisfaction benefits that you can have. Okay. So Simon, you say, regardless of how the relationship is labeled, when you are intimately involved with someone, you already care deeply for. Emotions build, as does trust, intimacy, connection, and familiarity. And no matter what one calls the arrangement, it can still get tricky. Check in to make sure that your friend is still your friend and that it's not getting more challenging to maintain your status. Or is it in any way becoming off-putting for you or for them? So we're going to ask you, Coach Jay, to say, what can you say about that?
I think, what I got out of that was that, first of all, are they friends with benefits? We go into these friends with benefits type of scenarios, and ultimately we start to recognize that actually they weren't friends. They were just individuals that you wanted to select for your particular purpose. Like in business, we have, which I do, like in business, we have niches. In the niche, you also have you have categories, you have subcategories. A lot of individuals, they pick and select individuals purely based on particular types of emotions and feelings. Although they, like, for instance, if you have a friend with benefits, are they a friend really? or as you said before, are they your benefit? Are they just going to be a benefit for you? In other words, are you going to be using them? In business, I always say there's nothing wrong with everybody using everybody. You understand? We all get used at some point. But when you start abusing that individual, or in business, even abusing the business supplier, the wholesaler, or in this case, the friends with benefit, you understand? When you start abusing that individual, then it becomes, how can you be a friend of that individual? Yeah, I think that we all use the term very loosely, but the reality of it is, if we really examine what we're doing with when we have a so-called friends with benefits scenario, is that truly they're not really your friends. You're just using them. But the problem is, as I said before, be very careful how you use a human being. A product, an inanimate object, can be used, and to a degree can be abused, can be bent out of shape, and reshaped, and all the rest of it. And it can, you don't have to put Coca-Cola in a Coke bottle. You can put water and everything else. But with a human being, I think you have to really, think much more deeper in the complexities of, we both mentioned already, again, the entanglement that you could be involved in. The other individual could, you never know, the other individual actually might have suffered from some form of psychological illness or condition that he or she never revealed to you. And then suddenly, while you entangle yourself with this individual because you thought that they're so handsome, or she's so beautiful, and that was the initial attraction, magnetism. All of a sudden, they go, they have a relapse, by one day coming to your house, or you going to theirs, or in public even. What are you going to do then? Are you going to really? I think people need to, as I said, think in the future. Because anything can happen. We all again want to control life and people's life journey and what we want. But you can have all the. I've done this before in my youth. You can have all the rules and regulations, and all these rules and regulations can still be broken. Even in when politicians implement legislation, and it still has to be enforced in some cases. You understand? So the thing is, it's like we have to, taking that example onto ourselves, be very careful about thinking that we can enforce rules and regulations. But the reality of it is, those rules and regulations can backfire and can be bent and broken and can fall apart.
I think what I'm taking from you, and thank you for what you've just said, and we will come back to you shortly. And
Sure.
We would like to thank Jay Ricky, Coach Jay Ricky from Sharp Coaching Services. And the one thing that I have taken from what you just said is, don't use people, and don't make rules and regulations that the other person maybe does not want, and you're forcing it on them because that's what you want. Be mindful that some other people are fragile. They might be going through something, and you putting them through a friends with benefits that's never going to go anywhere is going to be worse on their mental health and well-being than any other time. So be mindful of that. We are going to go to Leasha. Leasha from all the way from Toronto. We welcome you back on the Extraordinary Achievers. If you have just joined us today, we have Toronto in the house, we have Spain in the house, and we have the UK in the house. Leasha, by committing to a friends with benefits situation, are we limiting the chances of finding true love?
Yes. Yes, 100%. I think if you know that ultimately you want true love, then you have to practice patience. I think what happens is we get into these situations being the friends with benefits, thinking that we're just going to do this for now. But what if our true love is looking at us, from a distance, and seeing that we're in some type of, we seem like we're busy, like we have something going on. They might not be able to see that it's just friends with benefits, but they could see that you're occupied, right? So in that sense, aren't you letting your true love kind of know that you're not open to finding true love? You're just kind of keeping yourself busy. So I think that we all have feelings and emotions, and we have to be mindful of what we truly want. So if you truly want love, if you truly want to find that, then you have to practice patience. There's nothing wrong with enjoying being single and just waiting for that true love. There's nothing wrong with actually seeking true love and keeping yourself, you know, focused on yourself. Like, we're so busy trying to have those connections and things with other people and dabbling into this world of friends with benefits. But if that's not what we truly want, then what are you doing? You kind of have to ask yourself, like, do you love yourself? Are you practicing that your own love onto yourself and waiting for that true love to come? Or are you just like, you're just wasting your time at that point?
Thank you. We have a comment from Stevie B. DJ Stevie B says, that is nonsense to suggest you are using them. I think there's another comment coming from Stevie B that says people have choices. And before I hand it over to Liasha, it is true, people have choices. And I would like to address the first statement that you made, Stevie B, that you said that is nonsense to suggest that you're using them. I think it depends on which way you're looking at it. What we have been addressing today, Stevie B, is that if you're in a friends with benefits with someone that is not certain that that is the position that you have to be fair, I think is what the coaches were saying. That be mindful that the other person might not realize that this friends with benefits is never going to be anything else except a friend with benefits. And so it is about setting the ground rules and making it quite clear that this friends with benefits is never going to go anywhere. And it is also true that some people take advantage of other individuals when they realize that they want more than the friends with benefits, and they allow it to continue. So I think the coaches that are here today are saying, do not take advantage of anyone, because not everyone exercises their right of choice very well. Let's address some more comments that we have, and let's see if Liasha would like to comment on any of those comments. Let's have some comments coming up on the screen.
Okay.
Val Robinson says, yes, individuals choose. And TJ says, let's be careful when we define friends with benefits. Sleeping with your baby mother once in a while is not a forward relationship. You are not friends. Proper friends are able to switch off and still remain friends, because the friendship is the basis of the relationship. Most people who think they are friends with benefits relationships are not. You simply are not friends.
Okay, so that one, I can kind of agree with that, because I believe that in order to be friends with benefits, you have to be friends first. So the connection has to be there, that's your basis, right? But also at the same time, you can't predict what is going to happen once you get into that serious, intimate situation with them now, right? Levels change, emotions change. So yes, you possibly could go back to being friends after you decided that, listen, I think I want more, this is not going to work out. But that's based off of communication. And many people struggle with communication. That's worldwide. It's not, many people struggle with communication. So imagine you're in a situation with a friend and they're not communicating that point with you, because now you've entered into an intimate level. So now they're like struggling as to how to communicate when they normally would with you, because you're friends. But because you got intimate, now it's a different playing field. So I think, yes, definitely to the first part of what she said, totally understand that you have to have the basis of friendships, but you can't predict how things are going to go down afterwards, right? Things change, things evolve. But as long as, so when I said earlier that I had been in a friends with benefits situation and I'm no longer friends with that person, that wasn't off of me. That was because, I was like, you're getting more into this than myself. And that's not what we ultimately agreed on. And the situation, it flipped, and there was an upset on that end. And I was like, okay, well, do you want to go back to being friends? Because I genuinely was that person's friend. But what I didn't realize was that there was always a level of, I liked this person more than just a friendship.
Yes.
to begin with, before we even dabbled into that. So I
Mm.
think that's where you get into that danger zone, that sticky zone where, yeah, you have to make sure you're friends, but also communication is key.
Joanne says the biggest problem with friends with benefits relationship is raising the risk that you will taint, destroy, and lose the original friendship.
Right.
Feelings change. Once you add physical affection, nudity, and intimacy to a friendship, the relationship changes. And that's what she thinks. And we
I
thank you.
agree.
Melissa says, what is the end game of being in a friends with relationship? Leisha, we're going to ask you to answer that one, and then we are going to go over to Yagi next, and we're just going to let you answer that. But ask Melissa. Melissa says, what is the end game of being in a friends with relationship?
Friends with benefits relationship.
Mhm.
Honestly, I don't really know what the end game is. I think some people want to be in a friends with benefits just to, they don't want a serious relationship, so they want something that's, it's easy. There's no real end game. And in my opinion, it always ends in a sticky zone to me. I've never seen a friends with benefits that didn't end up with one person getting more emotionally attached than the other. I've never seen it. I've never personally seen it. So I don't really know what the end game is, but I know that from what I've seen, it ends with someone falling a little bit more, or someone deciding that they don't want it anymore because they see the other person's falling, not necessarily them. So that's what I've seen. So to be honest, the end game, who knows? Who knows what the end game is? I guess the end game is whatever you want it to be, because at that point you're making the rules with your friends with benefit situation, right? You guys make the rules together.
Thank you. And we will be back. And
Okay.
we are going to go all the way to Spain now and invite Yugi back. Yugi, welcome back, and thank you for patiently waiting there. And I know that you probably were saying, I want to answer that one. I want to answer that one. Let's see if we've got any more comments that we can just bring up. We want to thank everyone at home. We would like to thank you wherever you are at. We'd like to thank you for joining us today. We are urging you to please comment, to share, to like, and to also ask our guests any question. For every Wednesday at 8 p.m. for the whole of February, we are going to be talking about love, relationships, and intimacy. And we are going to be looking at every single aspect of it. Today, we start with friends with benefits, as it is something that we don't really talk about much. And sometimes people are being left traumatized by being in friends with benefits. So we asked our coaches today to come in from Toronto, from the UK, and now from Spain to give us their view. Now we want to look at it in a completely different way. How do we find the right partner for us? If we don't want to be in an entanglement, we don't want to be in a situation, if we don't want to be having friends with just benefits and it's going nowhere, Yugi, how do we say now, this is the way I'm going to find the right partner for me? I'm fed up with the situations. I'm fed up of the entanglements. I want someone for me. How do we do it?
I love what Alicia was saying about patience and, really being clear with your intention. What is it you're really seeking from that other person, that relationship, from your friend, whatever that companionship, whatever that experience looks like for you. And guys, I keep saying this, no wrong or right, because some people are quite happy and very strong in a friends with benefits relationship. Or you're doing the normal, monogamous or polyamorous, or there are so many different levels of what the experience for love could be for you. But we would always get you to breathe into it and really set clearly, really clarify what it is you want in that partner, what it is your expectations, what it is, and breathing into your real little girl, little boy in you, what it is they really want and need. And when you've got that itemized out, and when you've got that vision, that dream, that perfect partner or relationship in your mindset, you've got the little steps of what it is, what it looks like, that the intelligence, the good looking, the worldliness, or whatever it is for you that pings at you. when you've got that clarity, understand, why are you not giving yourself that 10 out of 10 love? And why are you putting up with something that you might not necessarily want? That lower level of what you're receiving, that is a flag for you to go, actually, I'm putting up with life. I'm not really getting what I really want out of life. I'm not getting the love I really want. But okay, so you're not getting it from your relationships and from your world or from whatever your experiences are. But the whole point of the game I play is it's always about you. So if you're expecting it off somebody else, how can they give it to you unless you are giving it to yourself first? So if you want that kind of amazing partnership, you want that love, whatever it is, understanding you need to give it to yourself first before that energy can come into your life. So being clear on your intention of where you want to go, what you want to manifest, what you want to invite in, but then understanding you need to take action and give it to yourself first. So designing that relationship that you want, and making sure you're living that life before it, you're embodying it. You're being it right now. You're being in that love. You're being in that freedom, whatever it is. Setting that bar and that boundary for you is very important.
So what I'm hearing from you is self-love, a lot of self-love, which is going to be our next question. And our ending question to you will be about self-love. But before we go to that question, let's just address some comments that have come through. Colin, Michelle says, the whole concept is a cop-out.
I'm just going to add to that. Sure. If you are triggered by something, work on what it is for you that's reflecting that you don't agree with, because there's going to be a part of you that maybe you need to explore and acknowledge. Because if you're not attached to it, it won't affect you. It doesn't matter about what anyone else is doing, as long as you're being true to yourself.
Thank you. Val Robinson says, there's a lot of men in the friend zone. They can't wait to get out. And likewise, women too. Norma Ellis says, jealousy is the enemy in these relationships. So the friends with benefits jealousy creeps in too. And Simon Brown says, the only way a friends with benefit relationship will work is if the two of you are totally honest about how you feel from the get-go and continue to talk about it when needed. Not only is it important to speak about changing needs and desires, like if one of you meets someone, but you should also talk about what you would like and don't in bed. That's why it's all about. That's what this is all about. We heard you, Simon. I think Simon's trying to campaign to be on the show. And and a Black Barmaid said, people should be honest with what they want and protect themselves. And I think that's what you were also saying there. You were saying that, Coach Yugi, you were saying that it is about the self-love, awareness, and knowing what you actually want. So I think she's just confirming that. Do we have any other comments that we would like to put on the screen? Bami Collie Roberts, the man himself, an empowerment man and a great community leader in our community. Welcome to the Extraordinary Achievers. And Bami Collie Roberts says, a friend is typically someone you trust and who trusts you. A relationship that develops through shared history, experiences, situations, circumstances, compatibility, or mutual interests. When you're looking for a friend with benefits arrangement with someone from the start, you're forcing a new potential relationship into a box that may not fit with a label that may represent it. This can end up with negative consequences for both parties. And would you like to comment on that, please, Yugi?
I totally agree. What we're doing right now is boxing it all up, putting that label in it. And what we're doing is giving it an ascribed meaning. And that meaning, it could be something you've learned or it's something society says. And as I keep saying, there is no wrong or right. As long as you are being true to yourself, honoring yourself, respecting yourself And again, remember this, communicating clearly from a place of not your ego, from a place of not hiding and not revealing your true self. And when you're honest and you're bringing that to the relationship, and again, with a friend, you already have that connection. So it can be one of the most beautiful relationships you can have, a friend with a benefit. You know, the gray area where you are girlfriend and boyfriend, that's an ascribed meaning. And what we place onto those relationships, again, where did we learn those meanings from? And what does it prove that, like, what, I'm stuck in a relationship where I don't deserve to be in a real relationship? What is a real relationship? What is that kind of boundary between having the companionship and having the daily companionship or the husbandry companion, you know, whatever it is? These are just different levels for you. What will apply to you will be different, and what feels right for you, again, explore that deeply. But what is right for you is the key in this game.
Thank you, Coach Yuki. We're going to read some comments with you whilst you're on the screen. Let's see some comments. Malon67 T says, it's not good to have benefits in any relationship. I'm not quite sure I agree there. Let's go back to that comment, please. We ask King Darren from We Fix It Media to bring back the comment. It's not good to have benefits in any relationship. There are benefits that can be had in relationship. I think we're talking about if you're in a relationship with someone, yes, you can have great benefits that you can have. We're talking about when you've got a friend and then you toss around with who is your friend, and then you end up with your friend and you take it that step further. And that's what we're talking about now. Now you've crossed the friendship barrier. And I think it's also being addressed in other ways that, was that all your friend really, or were you just looking for benefits? So it depends on where it is. Sometimes we find people falling in each other's arms because of situations that happens. And that's why people are talking about being in entanglements. But let's read some more comments that we have there. We have Aramul, she's composer. Anthony says, it's all or nothing. I am no one's side piece. So you've made that choice. So good on you. Podcaster Noma Ellie says, if we can, but things in different boxes like intimacy, attraction, and need love. I just have to say that we will acknowledge the S word that everyone is using, but we can't say it because we want to remain Facebook's friend. So, so we're going to go back again into number analysis so I can finish reading it. If we can, but things in different boxes like intimacy, attraction, and need love and commitment, knowing ourselves. So once again, we're going to self-awareness, which is very, very important. The next comment, do we have any more comments, please? Marlon says, there are great benefits in relationship, but the idea of going into it for the benefits, no, we agree with you 100%. Thank you very much. We're going to now ask you the question, and your last question for you today. Sophia says, I apologize. Sophia says, fantastic show. We appreciate you. And I would also like to acknowledge my really, really good friend, Tivona Brown in Luton. Just want to say, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, and kiss my godson. Just wanted to say that one. And she's a friend with benefits. She's got my godson. There are good benefits. Totally agree, Simon says. Now we're going to ask you, your last question for today. What is your advice on self-love? And can you just also quickly tell us what programs you offer that would help one with self-love and avoiding that entanglement that is not so good? We have seen some other comments that people say that their friends with benefits work really well. We just want to say we're not interfering with anyone that is in an absolutely fantastic friends with benefit. If it works for you, then we clap for you. Thumbs up. Enjoy yourself. You're giving whoo, yeah, we agree with you. If friends with benefits is something that's working for yourself, I just take the leaf out of the Bible, thou shalt not judge. If it works for you, it works for you, good for you. We're trying to address some of the other people that are being affected with friends with benefits, that are expecting more and thus are left behind, devastated, losing their confidence, not sure of where they are in life, or are stuck in friends with benefits zone and are missing an opportunity of true love. Those are the ones we wanting to, and then we are looking for experiences from absolutely everyone. So we appreciate each and every one of you. We're not condemning friends with benefits. We're just looking at the other side of it today. So Yugi, what is your advice on self-love and what programs do you offer?
Wow, self-love is key to you all, okay? Especially if we're seeking it, we need to give it to ourselves, guys. And it's interesting because I am starting a singles group next week, and it's kind of it's not a dating group, but it's more of an awareness group where whatever we're seeking, whatever it is that experience is, I'm trying to bring it back to you. And again, this whole theme tonight about the benefits, guys, everything you do in life, every action you do, there's always something in it for you. So understanding and acknowledging that what is it you're really seeking and not denying that. The benefits are, maybe it's not a conscious thing, or maybe the attachment isn't something you want, or maybe it is you're just looking for acknowledgement or interaction or connection or attention or whatever it is your love languages are, being aware that anything you do in life, part of you, as much as you kind of deny it, part of you is going to get something from that. Whether it's a feeling of, if I help somebody, whether I'm helping somebody, there's different levels of this. I'm not helping somebody, hopefully, out of a need for overgiving, for proving myself. If I'm doing it in a kind of non-attached way, I'm still receiving energy. I'm still receiving a love and a connection and a feel-good feeling. So be aware that everything you do will have a consequence and it's going to affect you, and it's going to give you what you need with that awareness, with that conscious awareness. So I'm opening up a singles group soon, next week. We start on Monday. But I'm also an experiential healer practitioner. And we offer a course, the Experiential Healing and Transformation course, which is a 3-month program where we take you through the whole the journey of looking at your limiting beliefs and your sabotages. And so with this, what is it if you always have a pattern in your life of negativity, of toxicity, of whatever that limiting belief is, whatever that emotional, whatever that trapped, blocked energy is for you, we help take you on the journey to let it go. We help you acknowledge it. We help you find out why you even picked it up in the first place. And then we help you retune it back into that frequency of love and compassion and forgiveness and giving yourself what you need. And one of the most amazing things that you can do with that, there are so many things you can do, bringing it back to your breath, being present and tuning into your little girl, your little boy, and checking in with them and asking them what it is they really need and raising your frequency into that love. And it could be as easy as just, listening to music, meditating, dancing, being out in nature, jumping in puddles, treating yourself to something you want, something you deserve, having a bath, giving yourself me time, time to care for yourself, time to give yourself that love. That helps release whatever that negativity is, that attachment, that lower vibration, and just those little steps, anything that gives you joy and that spark of life in your heart, do it. That is your self-care.
Thank you. You know, I could listen to you all day, every day. So I listen to you in the morning when I wake up because I know that you've got your little friends in the back garden that will help me to wake up in the morning. Say hello.
She's the masculine. No, yeah, we've made friends. We have definitely made friends. Yes.
I know. Say hello to them tomorrow morning for me. Please do wait for us in case we have a question from our viewers today. But we want to thank you so much. And we are going to read a statement that comes from Monty, that is Master Moore himself, a martial arts expert. And he says, I have been in a friends with benefits situation years back, and it worked very well. We're still friends. I think people just don't know the meaning of a friend with benefits. And that's why we need you to tell us, Master Mo, what was it that you agreed upon to start off with that made it work so well? And Sir Theo says, love me for me and not what you will get. When I give my all, it includes all the benefits. Hey, we're there. Sir Theo says, I love him for all that he is, and he is prepared to give you all of him. We have seen your CV. We shall recommend it to others. We love you, Sir Theo. Yugi, thank you very much. We're now going to go over to Jay Ricky. Jay Ricky, how would you define self-love? By the way, we have enjoyed ourselves so much, so we are past an hour. So I apologize for that. But could you just tell us, how would you advise us to find that self-love? And can you tell us a couple of programs that you offer that people will also be able to find from your website and by contacting you?
Sure. Self-love, literally start with self. How do you start with self? There's plenty of different type of exercises, practical exercises that you can do. Some people, they look at their family tree. Others, they start to look at their personal life, their story, try to trace back certain types of things. I've been involved with people that basically have gone on a journey to find where their loved ones, their parents even, have passed away, but yet they still feel that they have to trace where they are or what's happened in order to get maybe some closure, or to, try to understand a piece of their life that was missing. Your life is very important. You're not on this planet just to, in a type of robotic type of way to be, programmed by the system and just, do the same thing for the rest of your life until eventually you draw your pension, and that's that. You have to look at your skills, your natural abilities. There are people that, I've talked to, and this is in the journey of self-love. There are people that I've talked to that basically I've said, so, you're not happy right now in your work or in your, love life, etc., etc. But the thing is like, what is it that you have right now? Apart from life, which is wonderful to have, obviously, thank the ancestors for life and guidance. What is it that you have? What natural skills and abilities do you have? Once you start to, there are people that they're excellent at baking. They're excellent at, writing. They're excellent at doing certain types of things. But for years, they've never really recognized their worth, their natural abilities, their natural talents, until a person like myself or someone else starts to, magnify that for them. And sometimes, this is where coaching and mentoring is very important. What do I do in regards to not necessarily teaching people about self-love, because, although it's a form of self-tutorial that you have to also be willing to participate in. I don't personally feel that, I have any, let's say, titles. I when people call me a teacher, or, there's other titles like guru, high priest, this, that, and the other, and I'm not really into the titles. What I'm into is, in the programs that I give out, is sometimes it's like, it's not just a psychological issue. It could be a physical issue. There are individuals that we disregard in the society and the community. Like, for instance, people that suffer from disabilities. We can't just say, well, this coach is very good for you because at the end of the day, I've seen him or her work in a particular type of way, and all of what they're predominantly doing in their coaching is physical exercises, for instance. That doesn't work for everybody. There are people, a broad amount of variance of type of people that at the end of the day need you could say bespoke coaching and mentoring. So for me, I try to get people involved in, looking at their natural talents and natural abilities. I tend to work a lot with ancestral guides. When I say ancestral guides, I'm talking about, all of us have ancestors, irrespective of where some of us think that other people's ancestors were not nice and brutal type of people or whatever. That's not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at, we all have ancestral guides. And sometimes what I tend to do on the spiritual aspects, I've already just talked about the physical, on the spiritual aspects is try to find out if the individual actually is open enough to be able to communicate and contact with the ancestral vibration and frequency, because sometimes not everything is in a book, not everything is in a coach, not everything is in a teacher, not everything is in a mentor. Sometimes it has to come by inspiration. Sometimes it has to come by divine wisdom, divine guidance. So for me, I tend not to really deal in religion as such. I'm talking about more on as I said, ancestral guidance. So the thing is, a lot of my mentoring, although I also do business mentoring, which is very different because it's more in business mentoring. It's lots of issues in and around race relations and products, sales, this, that, and the other. In regards to personal mentoring, I tend to really delve very deeply with the individual's what I call soul journey. We all have a soul journey, but the thing is like a lot of us don't understand we don't have clarity. We know that we have a purpose or maybe a mission, but we don't understand our purpose. So the thing is, what I try to do is work with individuals to try to get them to a place where they get clarity, they understand their mission, their purpose, and their function, and that's what I do.
Thank you. Coach Jay, thank you so much. And we appreciate that. So on the Extraordinary Achievers, although I am a Christian, I embrace absolutely every single person. And that's what we do on the Extraordinary Achievers, because love unites each and every one of us. It unites absolutely anyone with any belief, stands for whatever they're standing for. We salute you and we take all the positive energy from it and we take all the love from it and we share it out. And so we thank you for that. I always say when I'm praying that I also thank my ancestors. And the reason why I always say that, and people say to me as a Christian, why are you mentioning that word? I'm mentioning because if my grandmother or my great-grandmother or great-great-grandmother never made that prayer that then my other great-grandmother and my grandmother and my mother then taught me, then I wouldn't have it today. So we have a lot to be thankful for our ancestors. And we'd like to thank you so much for being with us today. And now we would like to move on to Leisha in Toronto. Leisha, thank you so much for being with us today. Leisha, can you tell us about self-love?
Okay, so I'll keep it quick because I know that we're out of time. But for me, what is my advice on self-love? I think it's all about your inner work. And this is what I do in my coaching practice. I believe in inner work. And I always say that if you aren't good, then the other people around you can't be good. So pouring into yourself is very vital for you to be able to flourish within your life and have other people receive that positive vibration from you. Self-love isn't necessarily just a face mask and a bubble bath, although I'll take that too. It's a little bit more than that. And sometimes we got to dig a little deeper into self in order to get to the root of self-love and loving ourselves, right? We really got to dig deep. So yeah, that's that. In terms of my business, I help women let go of relationship trauma to transform that pain into power so that they can live their best life. So I focus on inner work, doing the work for yourself. I have classes called release classes where we have different topics each month. It's more educational based. And then I have workbooks that I put out regarding those topics that we touch on. And then I have package of one-to-one coaching, whether it be 1 hour sessions, half an hour sessions, or bundled sessions. So I have a little bit for everybody. And then I also do write. So it's not just my workbooks, but also my books as well. So yeah, that's how I help.
Thank you. And what is the one final thing that we want to hear from you that you would advise anyone out there that is in a friends with benefit situation, entanglement, but it's not going so well? What would you advise them?
I would advise you to be honest and true to yourself. Don't ever feel like you have to stay in a situation and get stuck in stagnant and complacency. It's very important that you're honest with yourself and you're true to what you want out of it. So if you're in something that is not healthy, get help and get out, right? And if it's just as easy as having a conversation, if it's like that you can have a conversation with that person, then have it. You know, it's worth it for yourself. You always have to, you know, in these situations, it's important that we look at what it is that we want out of it. And if you realize that it's not what you originally wanted and what you originally signed up for, it's okay to get out. It doesn't mean that you're failing. It's just that you're being true to what you want and honest, right? So communication is key. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Leisha. Thank you so much. And thank you for your time today. We would like to thank all our guests for the time that I've had, and would like to thank you for sharing, for commenting, for liking. And as always, I have some quotations to share. A quotation by Johann Wolfgang says, "As soon as you trust yourself, you will know how to live." As soon as you trust yourself, you will know how to live. A quotation by Ahadi D. Jackson says, "Above all, be true to yourself. And if you cannot put your heart into it, take yourself out of it." Above all, be true to yourself. If you cannot put your heart into it, take yourself out of it. We have a quotation by Abraham Hicks, and it says, "You are free, you are powerful, you are good, you are love, you have value, you have purpose, all is well." You are free, you're powerful, you're good, you are love, you have value, you have a purpose, so all is well. For the rest of this month, February, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on the Extraordinary Achievers Show, we are going to be talking about love, relationship, and intimacy. We are going to be looking at radical love. We're going to be looking at, is there S without no casualties? Is there intimacy, body to body? Is that all of that without any casualties? We're going to be looking at all of that. And we're also going to be looking at relationships that work, and how those that have made it work. So we are going to have amazing coaches from all around the world that are going to be joining us on the Extraordinary Achievers. So please do be sure to join us every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, on our website, on Twitter. We are everywhere. Melissa says, "Thank you to Chief Lady Wynette and all the amazing speakers tonight, and thank you for tuning in." Val Robinson said, "God bless you, Queen. Thanks for a great show and your wonderful quotations, and we appreciate you." We would also like to appreciate our show coordinator, who makes all of this look so amazing, and his name is King Darren Robinson from We Fix It Media, and he is my son. Would also like to thank my other son and his partner, Princess Kay. Would like to say, Prince Jordan, thank you so much for all your help. It wouldn't be possible to run this show without my sons, and I thank all my friends, my family, and everyone that helps in this show. I've also got my sister Heather and our coordinator Melissa, who helps us with this show. I'd like to thank them. And this show would not go to house, door to door, room to room, wherever it goes to, without you sharing it. And I just want to say thank you. And as you give, as you share, and as we educate one another, may you forever be blessed with whatever your requirements are in life. And when someone asks you to do something and you do it for them, I know it's coming back to you a million times better. So thank you so much. We'd like to bring all our guests back onto the screen, as we'd like to thank them and to remind you that all their information and all their contact details will be on the bottom of this page, comment boxes, and you'll be able to contact all our coaches and you'll be able to hear from them. So if you'd like to use any of their services, they all have amazing packages. So would like to say, Jay Ricky, thank you so much, and namaste, and thank you. And we Love you. Thank you so much. Would like to say to Yugi from Spain, thank you so much for taking time out. We hope you will join us again on the Extraordinary Achievers on other topics, because we know that you cover so much. And thank you for your amazing energy. And we love you. We would like to say from Toronto, going back to Toronto, Coach Leisha, thank you so much for your time. And
Thank you
for joining us today. We truly appreciate you. I love your spirit. I love who you are and everything that you represent, and wish you all the best. And thank you so much for us today. Thank you and take care. And would like to say goodbye now to all our guests. And please do remember to follow their pages, and we will be posting their videos as well, so you'll be able to catch up with their contact details. Do support them. They took time out today to empower us with all the information that they have. At the Extraordinary Achievers, we'd like to say we love you, and we'll see you next Wednesday at 8 p.m. And thank you.
Thank you for watching. You can now follow us on Facebook and subscribe our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and comment.